Unfortunately, I've got some really sad news to share with everybody this morning. Andrew Space Drake Dice, co-founder of Carpe Fulgur, has passed away. His longtime collaborator, Robin Light Williams, let the community know this week and also said that Carpe Fulgur will be closing its doors. It's hard to overstate what Andrew meant to our little corner of gaming. Without him and Robin, we wouldn't have seen a lot of really niche games ever come out here in English. For so many of us, Racketeer was a gateway, and it ended up selling hundreds of thousands of copies, proving that, yes, there was an audience for quirky little Japanese indies in the West. Andrew's fingerprints are all over other series too. He was a lead editor on Super Robot Wars 30 and more recently came back to the Trails series to help edit Trails Through Daybreak with NIS America, a full circle moment since he and Robin actually once tried to help Xseed shoulder the impossible mountain that was the Trails in the Sky SC localization. And it wasn't just in the credits that you would see them. Behind the scenes, Andrew was one of the people encouraging publishers to get more Japanese games onto Steam back when that idea sounded risky. He believed in these games and he fought for them, and he helped open the floodgates for everything that has come after. If you've ever played a niche JRPG or Japanese indie on PC and thought, wow, this is so glad this came over here, well, chances are you have Andrew to thank in at least some way. He worked closely with Robin Light Williams, with folks over at Xseed, with teams at Bandai Namco and NIS America, always bridging the gap between passionate creators in Japan and hungry fans abroad. A lot of us only knew him by his online handle, but his work left a mark that's going to be felt for years, and his passing is a real loss, and the community is grieving together today. In lighter news, Nintendo have announced that President and COO Doug Bowser will retire at the end of this year, when presumably he'll be succeeded by another guy who doesn't really want to interface with Nintendo's customers. Moving along to some major announcements though, Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo at the Sony State of Play gave us a new trailer and a firm release date for Nioh 3. It's going to be coming out on February 6, 2026. In it, you can expect some brutal samurai action cinematic story beats, and if you're into Souls-like flavored action RPGs with samurai swords, then this is one to maybe circle. ONI Zero Cross is bringing back a series that we haven't seen in 26 years. It's coming from Mebius and none other than Takeya Iijima, the guy behind Riviera and Yggdra Union. The story follows Fujimaru Rangoku, a ninja caught up in a fight against a demon called Jiku Joji. It looks like they're aiming for a darker human drama vibe this time around. No platforms have been announced as of yet, and it's not out until 2026 in Japan, but the pedigree here is enough to keep this one on your radar. Next up, Bandai Namco have confirmed that it is in fact happening. They've surprised everybody by unveiling Conde Vein II coming out on January 30th, 2026. The trailer is definitely leaning into the anime stylings, and fans of the first game seem cautiously optimistic, especially with the promise of deeper combat and variety. Koei Tecmo is digging back into their archives with Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. This one is celebrating the 25th anniversary, bringing back the first Dynasty Warriors game to hit 1 million copies sold. They're building the base game with the old Extreme Legends expansion, so that's all 40 plus characters and battlefields rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5. It's still all about mowing down armies by the hundreds, but now with sharper visuals and a modern engine baked in. Look for it on March 19, 2026 across PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, Switch, Switch 2, and PC. Tokyo Game Show also brought us some fresh details on Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. Dragon Quest 1 now has multiple enemies in battles, while Dragon Quest 2 adds brand new regions, a new character, and even mini-medals. There are also sigils and scroll systems, and a tombola minigame, giving this remake more than just a fresh coat of paint. Launch is currently locked in for October 30th. One of the more left-field Tokyo Game Show reveals is called People of Note. This is a turn-based RPG mixed with a musical, kind of like Rhapsody, I guess, where you were literally forming a band to fight through story-driven encounters. It's got some striking visuals, storybook vibes, and definitely an eye-catcher for anyone craving something a little off the beaten path. Now, fans of anime RPGs, here's a heads up, because Seven Deadly Sins Origin is officially launching on January 28, 2026 on PS5, PC, and even mobile. It is an open-world action RPG that has you controlling Tristan while building a party of familiar characters from the series. It sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the catch, it's free to play and it's being made by Netmarble, which usually means pretty heavy gacha elements and microtransactions baked right in. So, the game looks flashy, but it's probably one that you might want to approach with caution. Capcom have dropped a fresh trailer for Onimusha, Way of the Sword, this time putting a spotlight on Musashi Miyamoto. The footage here shows him ambushed by Genma demons and nearly killed and then saved by the cursed Oni gauntlet that gives him powers at a steep price. We also got to take a look at some of his allies like Izumo no Okuni and Ono no Takamura. It's a classic Onimusha samurai story blended with supernatural horror, and it looks like Musashi's story is going to lean hard into the dark fantasy mix side of things. Sega have also announced that Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties will be dropping in February 12, 2026. This is a double feature. Kiwami 3 is a full remake of Yakuza 3, updating Kiryu's original story with new combat and content, and bundled with it is Dark Ties, a totally new spin-off where you actually play as Yoshitaka Mine, one of Yakuza 3's villains. Now that's a first for the series, getting to see the side of the story from the bad guy's side. Both games are going to be coming together as one package across PlayStation 5, PS4, the Xbox Series, Switch 2, and PC. Annapurna and Yarn Owl have announced a gorgeous little action-adventure title called Demi and the Fractured Dream, set for 2026. In it, you'll be playing as Demi, a cursed void scent who has to use void magic to take down 3 accursed beasts across the land of Somnus. It's part platformer, part RPG, with puzzle solving, exploration, and flashy combat. The trailer showed everything from dodging through enemy strikes to equipping charms that change how Demi fights. It's headed to PS5, Xbox Series, Switch and Switch 2, and PC. The indie RPG Cassette Boy is expanding to even more platforms here. Originally announced for PS5, Switch, and PC, it is now also coming to the Xbox Series, PS4, and Xbox One. The gimmick here is pretty wild. The world is built on this Schrodinger's system where if you can't see something, it doesn't exist. So by rotating the camera, walls disappear, enemies vanish, and puzzles kind of unravel. It looks like a classic pixel art RPG, but under the hood, it is all modern 3D trickery. Definitely one of the quirkier indies coming out of TGS this year. In SuperDerek news, this week I've been continuing to plug away at the indie console project that I think we're nearing the end here. I've been doing some benchmarking with tons of indies and AA RPG titles from the last decade using both the base specs and the pro model that I think nearly matches the Steam Deck's performance for half of its cost, all in, and I hope to have my very first video ready to come out here this week. So stick around for that. And in other SuperDerek job hunting news, things are still going slowly over here. There have been a couple of hits here and there. One for a radio gig that unfortunately only had 2 hours per week to offer. So, job market's kind of nutty these days. So thank you for continuing to support me here, guys. So this week, I decided to also throw my hat into the ring of voice acting, which is something that I've played around with the idea of for quite a while. It's actually been a hobby of mine to bring characters to life during my live streams of retro games, and over the last decade or so, I'd like to think that I might have gotten a little bit better at it than I was at the start. So wish me luck, because if all goes well, someday you might just hear this voice in a new RPG. Be pretty cool, right? And I nearly forgot to mention that HitPoint, the JRPG news podcast, kind of like a long-form version of this where I talk about these news entries over a much longer time and actually get to dive into the weeds and stuff. That's coming back to the SuperDerek channel. We eventually figured out what was causing the algorithmic problems on the SuperDerek channel last time it was here, so it's coming back, and I'm very excited for you all to see it. So, next up, I wanted to recap a game that came out last week. It was Wonder Stars, which launched on September 19 for Switch, PS5, the Xbox Series, and PC. And reviews are starting to roll in here. Critics appear to love the game, the creative fight with words combat system, and its Saturday morning anime charm that gives me OG Dragon Ball vibes. It just looks so cool. RPG sites said that it's bursting with personality, and Steam reviews are currently listed as very positive, and so far the vibe is that it's a very clever idea and a fun trip if you're into some of that retro anime energy. And now we've got this week's JRPG Weekly Forecast, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, coming out on September 30th on all platforms. Thank you for hanging out with me today. It's been a pleasure. Get subscribed so you'll see when the indie RPG console finally comes out this week, I think. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, everyone.
I know my hands won't stop shaking. I know I'm not the only one they trained for this. But if I turn back now, everyone at Eldervale pays for my fear. So I take one step, and then another. And when the gates open, I walk through. You still cling to hope. How quaint. Kneel, little Ember, and I will make your end painless. Defy me, and I will teach the sky the sound of your breaking. I talk with my fists. They listen faster than most, but you, kid, you get words. You stand behind me when it starts, and I'll make sure you walk out.
Oh, Treasure Sparkle! Wait, Trap Sparkle? Maybe both? I can do this. I am brave. I am shiny. I am going to poke it with a stick first.
Shields tight! Eyes up! When the beast rears, strike the joints and keep your line! No heroics! We win by inches, not by legends! The Astral Engine remembers every wish it's granted. It remembers every regret. Touch it, and it will remember you too. Choose a memory worth keeping. Danger? Please. That's just another word for opportunity with sharper teeth.